You see, successful people, truly successful people, they've discovered something. When you own your morning, you own your day. And when you own your day, you own your life. It's that simple. But simple doesn't mean easy. If it were easy, everyone would be doing it. I've studied successful people for decades. I've looked at their habits, their disciplines, their philosophies. And you know what I've found? Almost without exception, they're early risers. They understand the value of those first few hours of the day. They guard them. They maximize them. They don't waste them scrolling through social media or hitting the snooze button 5 times. Now, I'm not saying you need to wake up at 4 a.m. That's not the point. The point is intentionality. Being deliberate about how you start your day rather than reactive. The specific time matters less than the habit of rising early enough to give yourself a head start on the day. Let me tell you why this matters so much. When you wake up early, you're making a powerful declaration. You're saying, I'm in charge here, not circumstances, not other people's demands. Me, you're setting the tone for your day rather than having the tone set for you. Most people live their lives in reaction mode. The alarm goes off, they hit snooze 3 times, then they rush around frantically trying to get ready. They arrive at work already feeling behind, already stressed, and they spend the day trying to catch up. Does that sound familiar to anyone? But there's a better way. There's a way where you start your day in creation mode rather than reaction mode. Where you decide what matters most and you do that first, where you invest in yourself before you invest in anything or anyone else. I want to share with you 7 disciplines of the early riser, 7 habits that, if practiced consistently, will absolutely transform not just your mornings but your entire life. Number 1, prepare the night before. Successful early risers don't start their discipline in the morning. They start it the night before. They lay out their clothes. They prepare their breakfast and lunch. They review their schedule and priorities for the next day. They get to bed at a reasonable hour. Remember this, every yes to staying up late is a no to waking up refreshed and focused. When you prepare the night before, you remove friction from your morning routine. You make it easier to succeed. You set yourself up to win from the moment your feet hit the floor. Isn't that a better way to live? Planning ahead so that your future self thanks your past self for the gift of preparation. Number 2, have a compelling reason. If you don't have a strong why, you won't have a strong how. If waking up early is just another shit on your list, another obligation, another burden, you won't stick with it. You need a purpose that pulls you out of bed, something exciting that makes hitting the snooze button feel like a genuine loss rather than a gain. Maybe it's the quiet time to work on your book before the kids wake up. Maybe it's the space to exercise and care for your body. Maybe it's the time to plan and strategize for your business. Whatever it is, it has to matter deeply to you. No one consistently rises early without a compelling reason. Number 3, start with stillness. The world is noisy. Everyone wants a piece of your attention, your energy, your time. That's why beginning your day with intentional stillness is so powerful. It could be meditation. It could be prayer. It could be journaling. It could simply be sitting with a cup of coffee or tea and being present with your thoughts. This stillness centers you. It grounds you, it winds you of what matters most before the chaos of the day begins. Most people reach for their phone first thing in the morning, immediately flooding their mind with other people's priorities, with news, with social media, with emails. Don't do that. Guard those first minutes of your day like the precious resource they are. Number 4, move your body. Your physical state influences your mental state. When you move first thing in the morning, whether that's a full workout, a brisk walk, some yoga, or even just some simple stretching, you're sending a signal to your brain. You're saying we're awake, we're engaged, we're ready. Exercise in the morning also gives you a win right out of the gate. You've accomplished something meaningful before most people have even gotten out of bed. That creates momentum, and life is all about momentum. Success breeds success. Discipline breeds more discipline. Number 5, feed your mind before you feed your body. What you consume mentally is just as important as what you consume physically. Take time in those early hours to read something uplifting, educational, or inspirational. Listen to something that challenges your thinking or expands your perspective. The quality of your life is directly related to the quality of your mind. And the quality of your mind is directly related to the ideas you expose it to. Most people are passive consumers of information. They let whatever is trending or whatever shows up in their feed determine what enters their mind. Be intentional instead. Number 6, plan your day. Before the demands and distractions start flooding in, take time to plan. Identify your most important tasks. Set your priorities. Decide in advance how you'll spend your time rather than just reacting to whatever comes your way. Remember, if you don't control your time, someone else will. If you don't have a plan for your day, you'll become part of someone else's plan. The early morning hours are perfect for getting clear on what matters most and making sure those things get your best energy and attention. Number 7, do the hardest thing first. We all have a finite amount of willpower and focus each day. For most people, these resources are highest in the morning and gradually diminish as the day goes on. That's why successful people tackle their most challenging and important task first thing. Maybe it's making those sales calls you've been putting off. Maybe it's working on that challenging project. Maybe it's having that difficult conversation. Whatever it is, do it first. Brian Tracy calls this eating the frog. If you eat a live frog first thing in the morning, nothing worse will happen to you the rest of the day. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Jim, this all sounds great, but I'm just not a morning person. I've tried this before and it didn't stick. Let me tell you something important. Becoming an early riser is not about personality. It's about strategy and consistency. It's not about forcing yourself to be someone you're not. It's about designing your life intentionally rather than living it accidentally. Start small. If you normally wake up at 7:30, don't suddenly try to wake up at 5. That's setting yourself up for failure. Instead, set your alarm for 7:15 for a week, then 7 the next week, then 6:45 after that. Small, consistent steps lead to lasting change. Also, focus on the experience, not just the outcome. Make your morning routine something you look forward to. If you love coffee, invest in really good coffee and take time to enjoy it. If you love quiet, create a peaceful space where you can begin your day. If you love music, create a morning playlist that energizes and inspires you. The goal isn't just to wake up early. The goal is to create a morning experience that sets you up to win, that puts you in the best possible position to create the life you want rather than just responding to life as it happens to you. Let me tell you a story about my friend John. John was always rushing in the morning, always stressed, always feeling behind. He'd hit the snooze button 3, 4, 5 times. He'd rush through his shower, skip breakfast, speed to work, and arrive just barely on time, already exhausted and frazzled. One day, John had enough. He realized this was no way to live, so he committed to changing just one thing. He would wake up 30 minutes earlier. That's it, just 30 minutes. He figured he could handle that. The first few days were tough. His body resisted. His bed felt more comfortable than ever. But John persisted, and something interesting happened. With just 30 extra minutes, John found he could shower without rushing. He could eat a proper breakfast. He could even spend a few minutes reading something inspiring. After a few weeks, John decided to wake up 30 minutes earlier still. Now he had a full hour. He added exercise to his routine, just 20 minutes of movement to start his day. He noticed he had more energy, not less, despite waking up earlier. A few months in, John had transformed his mornings completely. He was waking up at 5:30 instead of 7. He had time for exercise, for reading, for planning his day, for a proper breakfast. And the most amazing thing happened. The rest of his life started to change too. Because John was no longer rushing, he was no longer a stress. Because he was planning his day, he was more productive. Because he was taking care of his body with exercise and proper nutrition, he had more energy. Because he was feeding his mind with positive input, his attitude improved. Within a year, John had received a promotion at work. His relationships were better. His health was better. His overall sense of well-being was higher. And it all started with that one decision to wake up just 30 minutes earlier. Now, I'm not promising you a promotion or a complete life transformation just from waking up earlier. But I am suggesting that how you start your day has a disproportionate impact on how the rest of your day unfolds. And how your days unfold, multiplied over time, is your life. Here's another powerful thing about waking up early: build self-trust. Every time you set that alarm and actually get up when it goes off, you're making a promise to yourself and keeping it. You're proving to yourself that you are a person of your word. That builds confidence and self-respect that carries over into every other area of your life. Most people make promises themselves all the time and break them just as often. I'll start the diet on Monday. I'll begin saving money next month. I'll call my parents more regularly. But they don't follow through. And each time they break a promise to themselves, they erode their self-trust a little more. Waking up early is a daily opportunity to strengthen that self-trust muscle. It's a daily chance to prove to yourself that you mean what you say, that your commitments matter, that you can rely on yourself. That's powerful. Let's talk about another benefit of rising early, the compound effect. Darren Hardy wrote an entire book about this concept. The idea is simple but profound. Small, consistent actions maintained over time create massive results. Let's say you use your early morning hours to read for just 30 minutes. That's not much, right? But over a year, that's 182.5 hours of reading. The average person reads about 50 pages per hour. So that's 9,125 pages per year. The average nonfiction book is about 250 pages. So that's about 36 books per year. 36 books that the average person who doesn't make time to read won't experience. Think about the knowledge gap that creates over time. Think about how much more informed, more insightful, more prepared you'll be compared to your peers who aren't reading at all, or are reading just a few books per year. Or consider the compound effect of exercise. Let's say you use your early morning hours for just 20 minutes of movement. Over a year, that's 121.6 hours of exercise that the average person isn't getting. That's going to show up in your energy levels, in your physique, in your overall health and wellness. This is the power of the compound effect combined with early rising. Small, consistent investments of time made at the start of each day, multiplied over months and years, create an extraordinary life. Now, I want to be clear about something. The goal is not to fill every moment of your early morning with activity. The goal is not to create a jam-packed productivity machine where you're rushing from one task to the next. The beauty of the early morning hours is that they're spacious. They give you room to breathe, to think, to be. Don't clutter them with too many activities or obligations. Keep them simple. Keep them meaningful. Keep them restorative rather than depleting. Some mornings the most productive thing you can do is sit quietly and think. Some mornings the most important thing is to move your body. Some mornings what you need most is to plan carefully. Learn to listen to yourself and what you need most on any given day. Let me share another story with you. This one's about Sarah, a young mother of two who was constantly exhausted and overwhelmed. She felt like she never had any time for herself. Her entire day was spent responding to the needs of her children, her husband, her boss, her clients. Sarah heard me speak about the power of early rising and decided to give it a try. She started waking up at 5:30, an hour before her children typically woke up. She used that hour for herself, sometimes reading, sometimes exercising, sometimes just enjoying a hot cup of coffee in peace. That 1 hour transformed Sarah's experience of motherhood and work. Instead of starting her day already depleted, already behind, she started it from a place of fullness. She had given to herself first, so she had more to give to others. She had centered herself first, so she was less reactive to the chaos of family life. Sarah told me that morning hour feels like a gift I give myself each day. It's changed how I show up for my family. I'm more patient, I'm more present, I'm more joyful, and surprisingly I'm more productive at work too, even though I'm technically working fewer hours. That's the paradox of early rising. By giving up sleep, you gain time. By sacrificing comfort, you gain energy. By putting yourself first for a short time each morning, you're better be able to serve others the rest of the day. But let's be honest, waking up early isn't always easy. There will be mornings when your bed feels like a powerful magnet pulling you back in. There will be mornings when your mind offers very convincing reasons to hit the snooze button. There will be mornings when you wonder if this whole early rising thing is really worth it. Those are the mornings that matter most. Those are the mornings when your character is being formed. Those are the mornings when you prove to yourself what you're really made of. Remember, discipline is doing what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. Especially when you don't feel like doing it. Anyone can wake up early when they feel motivated. The real test is waking up early when motivation is nowhere to be found. In those moments, fall back on your systems and your habits. Don't rely on how you feel. Rely on what you've decided in advance. This is why preparing the night before is so important. This is why having a compelling reason is so crucial. They carry you through when willpower alone isn't enough. Let's talk about another aspect of early rising that often gets overlooked, the evening routine. How you end your day greatly influences how you begin the next one. If you're staying up late, watching stimulating shows, scrolling through social media, or working right up until bedtime, you're setting yourself up for poor sleep and a difficult morning. Successful early risers have a wind-down routine. They begin to slow down and quiet down well before bedtime. They might read something light, take a warm bath or shower, do some gentle stretching, or practice relaxation techniques. They avoid screens, caffeine, alcohol, and heavy meals close to bedtime. They know that quality sleep is just as important as waking up early. In fact, the two go hand in hand. You can't consistently rise early and be productive if you're exhausted from poor sleep. So if you're serious about becoming an early riser, be just as serious about becoming an early to bed person. Be just as intentional about your evening routine as you are about your morning routine. Now, I want to address a common objection I hear when I talk about early rising. People say, but Jim, I'm naturally a night owl. My brain just works better in the evening. I'm more creative, more productive then. Here's what I say to that. Our bodies and brains are adaptable. They respond to the routines and environments we create. If you've spent years being a night owl, then yes, your body and brain have adapted to that pattern. That doesn't mean you can't adapt to a new pattern. Research actually shows that only a small percentage of people are truly hardwired to be night owls. For most self-proclaimed night owls, it's more about habit and lifestyle than biology. And habits can be changed. Lifestyles can be redesigned. Try early rising for 30 days. Give your body and brain time to adapt. You might be surprised to discover that you're more creative, more productive, and more energetic in the morning than you ever imagined possible. Another objection I often hear is, but Jim, what about weekends? Surely we can sleep in then, right? My answer might surprise you. I actually do recommend some flexibility on weekends or days off. The key is consistency during your work week. That's when the structure of early rising will benefit you most. On weekends, you might choose to wake up an hour later than usual. I wouldn't recommend sleeping in for hours and hours, as that will disrupt your body's natural rhythm and make Monday morning much harder. But some flexibility is fine and even healthy. The most important thing is intentionality. Are you sleeping in because you've thoughtfully decided that's what your body and mind need? Or are you sleeping in out of habit, laziness, or lack of purpose for your day? The difference matters. Let's talk about one more benefit of early rising that we haven't touched on yet, the opportunity for mastery and personal growth. Those early morning hours are perfect for developing skills, pursuing passions, and engaging in deliberate practice. Maybe you've always wanted to write a book, but you can never find the time. The early morning hours are your answer. Even 30 minutes of focused writing each morning adds up to 182.5 hours per year. That's enough to write a book. Maybe you want to learn a language, master an instrument, develop a new professional skill, or start a side business. The early morning hours provide the focused, uninterrupted time you need to make meaningful progress. Most people complain they don't have time for their passions and dreams. But the truth is, we all have the same 24 hours. The difference is in how we allocate those hours and how intentionally we use them. When you rise early, you're literally creating time in your day that most people don't have. You're giving yourself an edge, an advantage. You're creating space for mastery and growth that the average person who sleeps until the last possible minute simply doesn't have. And here's something else to consider. The mindset of an early riser is the mindset of a winner. It's the mindset of someone who understands that extraordinary results require extraordinary disciplines. It's the mindset of someone who is willing to do what others won't do in order to have what others won't have. This mindset carries over into every other area of your life. Once you've proven to yourself that you can master the discipline of early rising, what other disciplines might you master? Once you've experienced the benefits of this one positive habit, what other positive habits might you develop? This is how extraordinary lives are built, not through grand, dramatic gestures or once-in-a-lifetime decisions, but through small, consistent disciplines practiced daily over time. The early morning hours are like a laboratory for the rest of your life. They're a training ground for your character. They're a daily opportunity to strengthen your willpower, clarify your priorities, and invest in your growth. So how do you get started? Let me offer a simple, practical plan. First, decide on your wake-up time. Be realistic but ambitious. If you currently wake up at 7:30, aiming for 5 a.m. right away is probably setting yourself up for failure. Instead, try 7 for a week, then 6:30 the next week, and so on. Second, calculate your bedtime based on your wake-up time. Most adults need between 7 and 8 hours of sleep. If you're going to wake up at 6 a.m., you should be asleep by 10 or 11 p.m. at the latest. Third, design your evening routine. What will you do in the hour before bed to prepare for a restful night's sleep and a successful morning? Maybe it's laying out your clothes, preparing your breakfast, reviewing your schedule for the next day, taking a warm shower, reading something light, or practicing some gentle stretching or relaxation techniques. Fourth, design your morning routine. What will you do in those early hours to set yourself up for success? Remember the 7 disciplines we discussed. Prepare the night before. Have a compelling reason. Start with stillness. Move your body, feed your mind, plan your day, and do the hardest thing first. Fifth, implement your plan and track your progress. Use a simple habit tracker or journal to record when you go to bed, when you wake up, and how you feel. Look for patterns. What's working? What's not working? Adjust accordingly. 6, find accountability. Share your early rising goal with someone who will support you and hold you accountable. This could be a spouse, a friend, a colleague, or a coach. Better yet, find someone who will join you in the challenge. 7th, celebrate your wins. When you successfully wake up early and complete your morning routine, acknowledge it. Be proud of it. Let yourself feel good about it. This positive reinforcement will help the habit stick. Remember, the goal isn't perfection. There will be days when you oversleep. There will be days when your routine gets disrupted. That's okay. What matters is your response to those setbacks. Don't let one bad day turn into 2. Don't let one slip become a slide back into old habits. Each morning is a fresh opportunity to recommit to your goal. Each day is a new chance to strengthen the habit of early rising. Each moment is a choice between the comfort of staying the same and the challenge of becoming better. I want to leave you with this thought. Your life is the sum total of your choices. Not just the big dramatic choices, but the small, seemingly insignificant choices you make every day. The choice to hit the snooze button or to rise with purpose, the choice to begin your day reactively or proactively. The choice to invest in yourself first or to immediately give your time and energy to others. These choices may seem small in the moment, but multiplied over time, they create your life. They determine your outcomes. They shape your character. They influence your impact. So make the choice today, right now, to become an early riser, to claim those golden hours for yourself, to start your day with intention rather than reaction, to set yourself up to win before the rest of the world is even awake. It won't always be easy. Few worthwhile things are. But I promise you this, it will be worth it. The discipline of early rising, practiced consistently over time, will transform not just your mornings, but your entire life. So, set that alarm. Prepare that evening routine. Design that morning ritual. And when that alarm goes off tomorrow morning, remember, this is not just about waking up earlier. This is about waking up to the life you're capable of creating. This is about rising to your potential. This is about becoming the person you were meant to be. The morning is waiting for you. The question is, will you show up for it? Thank you.